The last day revolution, seizing life's moments. Welcome to the BlackCEO Podcast, where we challenge conventional wisdom and push the boundaries of what's possible in life and business. Today, we're embarking on a journey that will shake the very foundations of how you approach each day of your life. We're diving deep into a philosophy so powerful, so transformative, that it has the potential to revolutionize not just your personal life, but the way you lead, innovate, and create impact in the world. I recently had the extraordinary privilege of sitting down with Andrea Price, a visionary leader whose insights have sparked a global movement in personal development and leadership. Andrea's work has touched countless lives, from Fortune 500 CEOs to individuals struggling to find their purpose. Her approach to life and success is nothing short of revolutionary, and today we're going to explore how her wisdom can transform your life, starting right now. Before we dive in, I want you to take a moment, close your eyes if you're in a safe place to do so. Now, imagine this. You wake up tomorrow and you know with absolute certainty that it's your last day on earth. What would you do? Who would you call? What words would you say? What risks would you take? It's a jarring thought, isn't it? One that most of us prefer to push aside, file away under things to contemplate later. But what if I told you that embracing this very question could be the key to unlocking a life of unparalleled purpose, passion, and success? Andrea Price's philosophy, life waits for no one, live your life every day like it's your last day, isn't just a catchy phrase or a motivational poster slogan. It's a radical call to action that has the power to revolutionize every aspect of our existence. But before we dive into the transformative power of this mindset, let's acknowledge the elephant in the room, the very real challenges that many of us face daily. Living with anxiety, depression, or any other mental illness or disability can make the idea of seizing each day seem like climbing Mount Everest in flip-flops. These conditions can cloud our vision, drain our energy, and make even the simplest tasks feel like Herculean efforts. But here's the thing. Andrea's message isn't about ignoring these challenges. It's about finding ways to live fully in spite of them, and sometimes because of them. Now, I can almost hear some of you thinking, easy for you to say. You don't know what I'm dealing with. And you're absolutely right, I don't. But what I do know is that every single person listening to this podcast has faced their own unique set of challenges. We've all had moments where we felt stuck, trapped, or overwhelmed by circumstances beyond our control. But here's where Andrea's wisdom comes into play. She's not asking us to pretend these challenges don't exist. She's challenging us to look beyond them, to find the opportunities that exist even in our darkest moments. Because the truth is, life doesn't wait for us to feel ready. It doesn't pause while we gather our courage or wait for the perfect moment to strike. Life is happening right now, in this very instant, and it's up to us to decide how we're going to show up for it. Let's break this down into three key principles that we can all apply to our lives, regardless of our circumstances. First, embrace the power of now. We often fall into the trap of thinking, I'll be happy when, or I'll start living when. But the reality is this moment right now is all we're guaranteed. By constantly postponing our happiness or our goals, we're missing out on the richness of the present. I'm reminded of a story Andrea shared about a client of hers. This individual had always dreamed of starting their own business, but kept putting it off, waiting for the right time. They had a stable job, a comfortable life, but there was always this nagging feeling of unfulfillment. One day, they were diagnosed with a serious illness. Suddenly, the luxury of time they thought they had vanished. It was a wake-up call that prompted them to take action. They started their business from their hospital bed, using the time between treatments to work on their dream. The business not only gave them a sense of purpose during their recovery, but also became a thriving enterprise. Now, you might be thinking, that's great for them, but I'm not facing a life-threatening illness. And thank goodness for that. But here's the question. Why wait for a wake-up call to start living your dreams? Why not use this story as your wake-up call? Imagine if you approached each day with the same urgency and purpose as if you just received life-altering news. How would your decisions change? What risks would you take? What conversations would you have? Second, reframe your challenges. It's easy to see our problems as insurmountable obstacles, but what if we viewed them as opportunities for growth instead? Andrea emphasizes the importance of shifting our perspective. Every challenge we face is a chance to learn, to adapt, and to become stronger. Consider the story of another individual Andrea worked with, someone who struggled with severe social anxiety. For years, this person avoided social situations, missing out on opportunities for connection and growth. But instead of accepting this as their permanent reality, they decided to reframe their anxiety. They started seeing each social interaction as a chance to practice courage. They set small, achievable goals, making eye contact with a cashier, striking up a conversation with a neighbor. Over time, these small acts of bravery accumulated, and while their anxiety didn't disappear, their ability to navigate social situations improved dramatically. The key was in seeing each anxious moment not as a failure, but as a chance to build resilience. It's like going to the gym for your mind. Each rep, each set might be uncomfortable, but it's making you stronger. Now, I want you to think about a challenge you're facing right now. It could be something big like a career transition or something seemingly small like a difficult conversation you've been putting off. How could you reframe this challenge as an opportunity? What skills could you develop by facing it head on? What growth might be waiting for you on the other side of this discomfort? Third, cultivate gratitude. When we're focused on what we lack or what's going wrong in our lives, it's easy to miss the beauty and opportunities that surround us. Andrea stresses the importance of actively practicing gratitude, of training our minds to see the good in each day. This doesn't mean ignoring our problems or pretending everything is perfect. It's about finding balance, about acknowledging our challenges while also recognizing our blessings. It's about understanding that even on our worst days, there are moments of light if we're willing to look for them. One powerful technique Andrea suggests is the gratitude journal. Each night, write down 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be big things. It could be as simple as a warm cup of coffee, a kind word from a stranger, or the feeling of sun on your face. The act of consciously acknowledging these positive aspects of your day can slowly but surely shift your entire outlook on life. I tried this myself, and I have to admit, at first it felt a bit forced. But after a week, I started noticing things throughout my day that I wanted to write down later. It was like I had trained my brain to look for the good, and suddenly I was seeing it everywhere. Now I can almost hear some of you thinking, that sounds great in theory, but how does this apply to my real life? How does this help me deal with my anxiety, my depression, my daily struggles? And it's a valid question. The truth is, adopting this live like it's your last day mindset isn't about making drastic overnight changes. It's about small, consistent shifts in how we approach our lives. For those dealing with mental health challenges, it might mean celebrating the small victories. Maybe today, getting out of bed was a struggle, but you did it. That's a win. Maybe you've been putting off a phone call because of anxiety, but you finally made it. That's progress. It's about recognizing that every step forward, no matter how small, is moving you in the right direction. For those feeling stuck in unfulfilling jobs or relationships, it might mean asking yourself, if this was my last day, would I be content with how I'm spending it? If the answer is no, then it's time to start making changes. Maybe you can't quit your job tomorrow, but you can start updating your resume. Maybe you can't completely overhaul your relationship overnight, but you can have an honest conversation with your partner about your feelings. The key is to start somewhere. As Andrea often says, small steps lead to big changes. Every journey begins with a single step, and the journey to living a fuller, more purposeful life is no different. But let's be real for a moment. This isn't always easy. There will be days when the idea of seizing the moment feels impossible, days when our mental health issues feel overwhelming, when our circumstances seem insurmountable, and that's okay. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. On those difficult days, Andrea suggests practicing self-compassion. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer a dear friend. Recognize that it's okay to struggle, to have bad days. The important thing is not to let those bad days define you or deter you from your path. I'm reminded of another story Andrea shared about a CEO who was struggling with burnout. This leader had always prided themselves on their work ethic, often working 80-hour weeks and rarely taking time off. They wore their exhaustion like a badge of honor, believing that this was the price of success. But one day, they found themselves unable to get out of bed. The burnout they had been ignoring for years had finally caught up with them. It was a wake-up call that forced them to reevaluate their entire approach to life and work. With Andrea's guidance, this CEO began to practice self-compassion. They learned that taking care of themselves Wasn't selfish. It was necessary for sustainable success. They started prioritizing sleep, exercise, and time with family. They delegated more at work and focused on strategic thinking rather than micromanagement. The result? Not only did their personal life improve dramatically, but their company began to thrive in ways it never had before. By taking care of themselves, they were able to show up as a better leader, make clearer decisions, and inspire their team more effectively. This story illustrates a crucial point. Living each day like it's your last doesn't mean burning yourself out. It means prioritizing what truly matters, both in your personal life and in your work. It means recognizing that your well being is not separate from your success, it's a crucial component of it. Now, let's address another common objection I often hear when discussing this philosophy. But if I lived every day like it was my last, wouldn't I just quit my job and go on vacation? It's a fair question, but it misses the point of what we're talking about here. Living each day like it's your last isn't about reckless abandonment of responsibility. It's about bringing a sense of urgency and purpose to everything you do. It's about asking yourself, if this was my last day, would I be proud of how I'm spending it? For some, that might mean finally starting that business they've been dreaming about. For others, it might mean having that difficult but necessary conversation with a loved one. And yes, for some, it might mean taking that vacation they've been putting off for years. The point is not to abandon your life, but to fully inhabit it, to make choices that align with your values and your deepest desires, to stop putting off your dreams and start taking concrete steps towards them. Andrea often talks about the concept of deathbed regrets. These are the things people most often wish they had done differently when they're nearing the end of their lives. The most common ones are: 1. I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. 2. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. 3. I wish I'd had the courage to express my feelings. 4. I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. 5. I wish that I had let myself be happier. Now, imagine if we could reverse engineer our lives from these regrets. What if we could live in such a way that when our last day does come, whether that's tomorrow or decades from now, we could look back without these common regrets? This is the power of living each day like it's your last. It's not about ignoring the future or abandoning responsibility. It's about making choices today that your future self will thank you for. As we start to wrap up, I want to leave you with a challenge. For the next week, I want you to start each day by asking yourself, if this was my last day, how would I want to live it? Let that question guide your choices, your interactions, your attitude. At the end of each day, reflect on how this mindset impacted your experiences. Remember, this isn't about making drastic changes or taking unnecessary risks. It's about being more present, more intentional, more grateful. It's about recognizing the value of each moment and making the most of the time we have. Life is happening right now, not tomorrow, not next week, not when you finally achieve that goal or reach that milestone. Right now, in this very moment. And while we can't control everything that happens to us, we can control how we respond, how we show up, how we choose to live each day. So I ask you, if today was your last day, how would you live it? What changes would you make? What risks would you take? What words would you say? And most importantly, why wait? Why not start living that way right now? Andrea Price's wisdom reminds us that life is precious, fleeting, and full of potential. It's up to us to seize it, to make the most of every moment, to live fully and authentically despite our challenges and fears. As you leave this podcast today, I want you to carry this message with you. Let it inspire you to take that first step towards your dreams, to show kindness to yourself and others, to find joy in the small moments. Because at the end of the day, a life well lived isn't measured by grand achievements or material success. It's measured by the moments of connection, of growth, of love, and of purpose that we create each and every day. But don't just listen to these words and nod in agreement. I want you to act. Right now, in this moment, make a commitment to yourself. What's one thing you've been putting off that you're going to do today? What's one conversation you've been avoiding that you're going to have this week? What's one dream you've been postponing that you're going to take a concrete step towards? Write it down. Say it out loud. Share it with someone who will hold you accountable. Because remember, life waits for no one. The time to act is now. And as you go forward, implementing this last day mindset in your life, remember that it's not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about making each day a little bit better than the last. It's about growing, learning, and living with intention. You have the power to revolutionize your life starting right now. You have the ability to make each day count, to leave a lasting impact, to live without regrets. The question is, will you seize that power? As we conclude, I want to thank Andrea Price for her groundbreaking work and for sharing her insights with us. Her philosophy has the potential to change not just individual lives, but to create a ripple effect that could transform our entire society. Imagine a world where everyone lived with this level of intention and purpose. The possibilities are truly limitless. So go out there and live your life every single day as if it's your last, because in doing so, you might just discover that it's also your best. The last day revolution starts now with you. Are you ready to join? Thank you for being part of this journey. Until next time, live boldly, love deeply, and make every moment count. The power is in your hands. Now go out there and use it.